Okay, so now that I've sent out the tweets and done everything else, let's kind of get to the coding. As usual, I got some notes that I'll be looking at to kind of make sure that I stay on tap. I'm only trying to do about 45 minutes to an hour because I don't want to be too crazy with this. And so where we left it was we're able to log in and log out. We started the process of moving everything into Composables, and we wrapped, let me put this out of the way, and we started wrapping, I didn't wrap this one, let's see, the use logout, didn't wrap that one, I guess I only wrapped the login. So we started wrapping our Composables, let's see, use pb login. We started wrapping our Composables with VueQuery so that we can get the benefit. If I look at my login page, we get the benefit of, I guess I call it niceness, of these reactive variables that we're going to get off of my login. So I can track, get that out of the way. I can track my is error, is loading, error, success, and then I can do things in my UI like this, for example, where if, let's log out, if I attempt, oh, that's going to work to log in. So let's log out again. Let's put a bad password on here. I can get my errors to appear just by listening to the reactive responses that I'm getting from wrapping my login with VueQuery. So just to kind of complete that all the way, let's just follow the pattern that we have in our login. And not lazy, so I'm just going to copy everything. And if we go to my, where's my logout? There's nothing really magical there, but let's just do it anyway for consistency. If I come here to my logout, and all I need to do is just take this same method here, and we'll just drop it in here. For my logout, we have no parameters. So get those out of the way. What is this thing complaining about? Oh, let's clear this out. I think I followed, hold on. I think I followed the same pattern that I used for my logout. There's my logout, there's my login. That's my login view. PP use mutation. Let me split my screen so I can see what I'm missing. My login. I use logout. What is the error saying? So the error says no overload matches type void, but it's not type void. I'm actually returning my use Nuxt app pb all store clear. Oh, that doesn't return anything. That's what's going on. So let's just return true. And so now it's complaining about type mutation key. What is going on? Use mutation. Maybe that returns a promise. I think that's what's going on. Yeah, I think it's because this, oh, return. My bad. Okay. Huh? I think this thing wants and or needs me to return a promise. Is that what's going on? Let's see. I guess that's what it was. It needed me to return a promise. So I returned promise. So now I have my PB login wrap. So if I go to my home page where I'm doing my logout, I can get I do have a use PB logout. Where did it just go? Use PB login. Use PB logout. Oh. Use PB logout out. And if I go back to my home, and my PB logout. Now auth data doesn't really matter because it's going to return a true. And well, actually, since we've now changed this to VueQuery, we need to kind of follow. Actually, it's kind of looking like a little bit of overkill here, but just for consistencies. But we need to follow this approach. So now I copy this over here, go back to my home page. We come up here to the top, and we call our use PB logout, and then it has this mutate async, and we're going to say logout, and then I can just call my logout down here, and I don't care about any of this. And once again, we're not utilizing any of this, but it is here if we needed it. The error, success, and the logout. I think what we're going to find is, so let's just make sure my logout works properly. I think what we're going to find here is that, so let's log in. My logout works fine. I think what we're going to find in this next one here, this create account, you'll see that you just get a lot more value out of it. So the first thing we want to do is let's copy our error. So what we'll notice is now by dropping this in here, so since we're not doing any styling yet, we'll just drop it in here. When I get my errors, it'll just automatically appear in my UI for me. I don't need to kind of do any of this magic here of catching and throwing exceptions. The next thing we want to do is follow the same pattern of we are going to take our block and we'll bring it over here to our create account. So we'll come over here, and here we're going to say use PB create account. And then our async here will be create account. And so this call here will be create account. And then we need to come and modify our composable to support the create account. So let's go to well, first since we're going to copy this pattern here, let's copy this code. And now let's go to our use PB create account, and let's see what's going on in here. So this one's going to be a little bit more complicated than the previous one, because we need to execute all this function. Actually, that might be the easiest way to do it. If we just come up here and call, well, first let's drop in what we want to drop in. So we drop in our, let's get this, our use create account, and we'll just call this function create account, and we are not going to export it. And then all we're going to do here is return create account, and create account is going to take the parameters that are getting passed in. So we will take this And create account, use mutation, email, password, full name. And this is string. Full name string. Okay, what's going on here? All right, let's simplify this. So for our create account, we need to pass in, these are the parameters it's looking for: email, password, full name. So we pass them in there. What is this complaining about? So that goes there. That gets returned. I need to format this because it's just taking up too much space. Oh. So, what is, all right, I think I lost some parentheses here, so let's simplify this. All right, first off, we want, I think, let's get this type out of here because it's causing some confusion. So let's get this out of here. And this is really, we're going to call this interface use PB account input. Then this type is use PB account input. So then we have our types set right. Then we can just reuse it down here. And then this is users calls my PB account. Why is this gray like that? Unreachable code detected. This is a function. It's in the block. It's being called there. Let's just move it out. Okay. So, all right. So what we've done is we've wrapped our create account inside this use mutation. Here's our create account code. All I did was I created an interface to support the parameter types that need to go in here. And then now let's go back to my create account. And if we come into my create account, we see we have our create account. And since it's async, we get our return variables up here. We get our answer. We get whether or not we get our email sent and our data returned. But also up here, since we are using our use query hook, we're going to get back if there's any errors. What the error is, we're also going to get the success and the is loading. We're not using loading, but maybe we probably should. But just to log it, we can kind of show what's happening. So let's go up here. Actually, we can do what we did on the last one. We can disable these on is loading. I think that's what is that we did, disabled, and then we said is loading. Loading. And So what will happen is when the save is happening, these buttons will be disabled. We'll do the same down here. And so we're now in CreateAccount. This should throw an error because I'm not passing. I'm not doing any parameter validation yet, but let's just see. First, we should see our buttons get disabled, and then we should see an error appear. So see our buttons got disabled, and then our error appeared there. See? And we're going to remove the alert now because we're handling our errors the other way. So So we're getting our fail to create record, and let's move that below the buttons. So it just looks a little better. Where is that? Here. Row. Put it down here at the bottom. So error client response failed to create record. So we're done there. But now let's try and add, cancel, let me go back here. So if we cancel login. So now let's do something a little more interesting. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back over to PocketBase. I'm going to expand this a little bit, kind of explain what we're going to do. And we're going to create a new collection, and we're going to call the collection, it doesn't really matter, so let's call it documents. And we are going to add a field. We're going to plain text is the name of the document, plain text description. And then we're going to add a file, which will be, we'll just call this attachment. Do we want to do that? No, because we want to render an image. So what we're going to do is we're going to call this image. And we only want a single image, although you can upload multiple images, but that's all we want. And then we can go here on our settings, and then we can restrict it to certain file types, which I think is kind of nice. Let's see. I'll say JPEG. I wonder, can I select multiple ones? I've never used this before, so let's see. It looks like I can. So JPEG and PNG. So that's what we're going to set. This thumbnail size, I haven't really played with this, but let's see. Fit inside a box without cropping. Resize. I haven't played with this yet, so I'm not going to touch it in this pass. Let's just see if we can get upload working. The other thing we want to do is you can go inside these API rules. And inside these API rules right now, since it's left blank, that means only admins can access this. But if you look inside of the filters, they kind of break down and give you a little bit more information on the rules and what the filter syntax is. The only one that we really care about is we're going to track the auth ID of the individual. And right now, so we can do two things. So we can just come in here and say request auth ID does not equal null. So that means if you're logged in, you can see the documents. So we'll leave that this way for now. And then let's copy this. And so you can get the list. You can view. You can create. You can update. And then you can delete. But what we really want, what's this? Invalid. All right, did I do the not equal? Oh, I did the not equal wrong. So let's switch this up. Oh, I'm gonna make sure my mic is on. Okay, let's switch this up to, it's just a single equal, it's not that kind of double. Yo, where did my, oh, here it is. Let's see what we got. And let's look at the API rules. What I'm also going to add in here is I'm going to add owner in here. So let's add, and it's going to be I haven't played with relations yet, so this should be interesting. We're going to do this live. So users, and this field is going to be ID, owner, and single, and let's see what we got here. Delete main record on deletion, no. Display fields, auto, yes. Non-empty, yes. So what we're going to do is we're going to push the ID of the person who creates the document here. So let's save the changes. And now I think we are good for setting up our collection, but then now let's use this API preview to see how you actually create it. And so we look here under create, JavaScript, relation record ID. This looks pretty straightforward. The multi-part JSON body. Where's the file stuff? Create. Image and file objects set to null to delete already existed. Well, it looks like this is pretty cool. It looks like they've updated this document here to match the layout of my, not the layout, but basically the shape of the object I'm trying to upload. It's interesting though, it doesn't have the file there, which I would have expected it to have. So let me go back and see why the file, did it not get saved as part of the document? No, it's there. That's interesting. I thought it would be there, but create. So now I'm gonna now I gotta find the documentation because I want to make sure that everything I'm doing I show where it exists in the documentation. So here it is with files, uploading files and handling file uploads. And so what they're doing here is they're creating this form data object, and then they're just basically appending everything to it. So there's the form data, and then here's the title or description, and then here they append the file that they want to do for the upload also. So that's the approach that we're going to take. So let's do this. So right now we're here on this home page. It just shows everything. Once again, we're not focused on pretty. We just focus on demonstrating the functionality, then we'll clean it up later. So we will, on our home page here, we will create a button in our header. So let's come up here to our header. And I think this is how it's done. Ion buttons. And then in here, Ion button. And then I'm going to say add. And we want it to go to the right. Slot. And ion buttons, ion buttons, ion button. Oh, I'm on the wrong page. So let's get this out of here. This should be on my home page. And then on my home page, we'll go down here, and then inside of toolbar, there's our add button on the end. And then just to show you the icons, because that's kind of interesting how they get handled with Nuxt. And so what you do is you say ion icon, and then the icon is ion okay, ion I should be getting my auto imports here. Icon. Huh. Let's see. Did I include that in my configuration? So you can say if you want the icons to be imported, I believe. Basic core, oh, that's not it. Where is it? Icons, yeah, there it is. So this says when you're loading up Ionic stuff, also include the icons. So by default, we'll get the Ionic icons loaded in also, so we should have access to them. So now when I go back to my home page and I want to load my icons, ICON, okay, why? Let me see, do I need to restart this to get them? Let me just delete this. And what do we got going on here? And let's just start it up again. And I believe it's ion, IC. All right, let me look at the doc, because I know that I should be able to load my icons. Pages, theming, framework components, ion animation, icons. Auto imported icons. All right. Maybe it's because I don't have that in front of it. It's not going to allow me to auto import. There we go. So we're going to use add outline as our icon. And if we go here, I get my little plus sign as my button there. And let's add outline, circle, and then let's style. I think it's the font, is it font size 20 px? Might make it bigger. Let's try 40. Right, yeah, there you go. So let's make it 30. So that's our plus sign for adding, and then what we're going to do is on the button on click, we're going to push to a new page, and we'll do all the adding on the new page. We'll say router push quote create document, and then now we need to do our create document page. So we'll go over here, and then in our pages we'll do create document.vue, and then here we'll do the usual. We know we need the basics for our template, so we'll copy paste that, go to P, create document, we'll lay that out, ion content, ion page, template. And let's get this out of the way. Create document page. And let's go to our create document page. Not found page create document. This is create because it's got some errors. So it's our script. And setup. See if will that get us over there? Oh, so now we have a create document page. Why is this complaining? Add circle outline does exist because I just used it. But we don't care about that right now anyway, because what we are going to do is we're just going to call this cancel. And if the user clicks cancel, then we're going to go back. All right, so cancel, go back, create document. All right, so now we're on our create document page. And what we want to do on our create document page is we want to kind of follow the documentation. And we'll follow the same approach. We'll put all the code in here, make sure it works, then wrap it and put it in a composable. Luckily, most of this code can work, even though it's an HTML example. So let's pull this. And we'll drop this inside of here. And we'll say const do create document. We'll paste the code in. We don't need PocketBase. Don't need any of this stuff because we're going to just pull our own PocketBase in. We have our form data, which we know we need. We need our form input. I'm going to handle the file change a little bit differently. Here's the append. We know that we need to append name. Well, let's create them. So let's go up here and do const name equals ref. Then we have const description equals ref, and then we're going to use the we're going to use the file that we're going to pull directly from here. And so let's create a ref for that also. Actually, you want to know what? I don't need a ref because I'll just take it off of the form element. So I don't need to do this. And I don't need to do this. Actually, we're going to make this even simpler. We don't need that. But so form append name, we will get this from name.value form data append for description. We'll do the exact same thing. ption description. Get that off of description.value. So we have the name, the description, and then the interesting thing is we're going to pull. So we need this. So const file input ref equals ref. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull the file value off of the file input element and we'll just shove it in. So see what they're doing here is they're doing the append from the file. We're going to do the same thing, but we're going to say, I believe I called it image. We'll say image, and then what we're going to do is we're going to get our file input ref dot value dot target dot files 0. Okay, and to get that right, I think I need to, I did this once before. I might have to Google this. HTML file input file. It's going to be an HTML ion input element. We're just going to set it to null initially. I don't really need, well, we'll just leave it at undefined. So file input ref value. So since it could be undefined, and then it's saying it can't find target. I mean, I can go deeper down the well to figure out exactly how I need to modify this for it to be a file input type, but I'm just going to cheat for now and just wrap this with an any, as any, and then let's change this to, where's my function, async, and then in the end we're going to get our use Nuxt app, and then we'll get our PocketBase, and then we'll take the collection, and then we're going to create this element, and what we want here, this, what did I call this document? What did I call that? This is, how long have we been going for? Stream settings. I guess I've been going for like 40 minutes. I can go a little bit longer. Our documents collection is called documents, so we're going to change this to documents. And that should create everything. Let's format this. And so now let's do the UI. So we go back up to our document. We have our cancels at the top, and then we need some fields. And let's minimize some typing and just copy some existing, kind of what the basic pattern is. With Ionic, it's all laid out pretty much the same inside of an Ion item. So we'll go back to our create document, and there's our cancel button in the header. Here's our content, and let's start laying it out. So we have a name, we have a description, then we have a file. And so we will start off here, name. This is type text. Name is name. Down here we'll do our description. This should probably be a text area, but we'll leave it. It'll work the exact same that way. Description, text, description, and then the file. Image file. We'll change this. We don't care about the V model. Could I do it that way? I never thought of trying it that way. So let me just do it the way I know works, and then maybe we'll try another way. Input type, file. You're going to get this error because for some reason IonInput, it throws an error when you set the type to file, but it still works. So select, so we don't want to enter, we want to select file. Okay. All right. So we have the basics. And kind of just to show you what I'm up to. So let's go, oh, we need our button to save. So we'll go down here, IonInput, no, not IonInput, Ion button. One button, create document. And what we wanted to do is in our onClick, we want to upload it. So this is what we're called do create document. And here's our do create document function. And let's see, created record. Let's console log this out. Actually, let's just, yeah, let's console log it out. Log created record. Otherwise it'll throw an error. So let's give this, let's set a breakpoint here to make sure that I'm getting the file correctly. And let's open up our debugger. Developer tools. And let's go. Test document, description of test document, ENT. Well, I don't want to save. Now choose a file. And then let's click create document. Okay, and now we are in our breakpoint, and we have our file input ref, our value, target. Actually, let's just put it down here in our console and see what we get. Okay, get some errors. Email was accessed during render, but Are these coming? Well, I'll circle back around to these. So I have a file input ref dot target file input ref value target. Where's my file? Oh, I didn't assign it. So let's refresh this. I didn't assign my ref to my file input element. Okay, let's try it again. Test description, and let's select an image. Take our first one, try to save. Let's look at our console. File input ref, file input ref dot value. All right, so we have something there. Dot target. All right. Why is that empty? Let's see what's there. File rent value. Oh, it's not the target. That's when I off a click. So I'm right. All right. File input ref. Let's close this. I'm looking at for the value in the wrong place. It's file input ref dot value dot files dot 0. Why isn't it here? Did I do this backwards? IonInput. All right, so it's there. Object. Value. I know what's going on. This is the Ionic stuff again. So I need to pull the element off of Ionic. And then it's going to be buried in here. Input ID, focus, input style, IonInput. All right, so what's happening is because I use an IonInput ref, and the IonInput wraps an input object, and so I need to get into the input object to find the actual file. So let's do this. So it's file input ref dot value. I think it's dot element el. No. No target element files. I thought it would be there. All right. Okay, we need to move on because we're spending too much time on this. I'll circle back around the next one and figure out exactly how to get it. We can just change this back to an input. And if we set this to an input, let's refresh this. So if we just set this to an input and I choose a file, so let's just put some, I spent too much time on that. So let's put some dummy stuff in here to get this moving. We choose a file, Giphy, save. Let's get the file input ref value. See, we have a normal input, but it's not target. It should be value.files. And then 0. That's what we want. I need to figure out how to actually find this with an IonInput element, but like I said, we'll circle back around to that later. So file input value, so it is not target, it's just files 0. And that's how we'll get the right one. So let's refresh this again. And enter this test doc int description. Let's choose a file. Let's choose the Giphy. Let's create a document. Let's kind of step over this and see what we get. Let me spread this out a little bit more to get some more room. Okay, so it failed to create record. Let's see, what did I not pass? Oh, I didn't pass an owner ID. But let's confirm that. Let's look at our network and look at the request. So this is the one that failed. Invalid MIME type. So it got 2 errors. The image they're saying was invalid MIME type, GIF. I can't upload a GIF. And then my owner, I didn't have the value for my owner ID. So let's do this. I can, right here we need our owner. So owner, and then we'll set the owner to, we need our auth store again. So let's just get it, let's go const auth store equals use Nuxt app. Also on pb dot auth store, and then off of our auth store, so over here, auth store dot model ID and as string. So this is getting us the ID of the current logged on user, and that'll address this owner problem. And then there is, let's see. And then I'll just upload an image this time. So let's go back here and name, description, choose my image file. You know a JPEG works. Nuxt Ionic. Open. create document. Let's just let it run. And it dumped here. You can see our record that it created. Here's our record with the collection. This might be hard to see. Here's a record with our collection ID, collection name, documents, description, the image, name, the owner ID. And if we go back to our collection and refresh this, you can see, and let's kind of expand it, it has captured our information, and here's the image. And there's the image that was associated with it. And let's see if we can, and then and what we want to do if it happens successfully, let's go back. When this happens successfully, we want to go back to the home page. So we'll go down here. If no errors were thrown and we got to here, then we will just do we will just route back to the home page. And I think, do I have my navigator? I'll navigate to home. So let's try and create another one and see if the flow goes all the way. So test document, description, choose file. And it created it and it brought us back home. But what would be ideal now is if we could actually see the documents. And so let's just quickly throw them on the page because we've gone, let's see, we're at about our hour mark. So let's display the items on the page. So let's go back to our home page. And what we'll do in the start of the next one is we'll create VueQuery wrappers for these calls. So what we want to do is, so here on our home page we have our use pb logout const use pb. Actually, I think we're just going to go straight to a VueQuery hook for this one. Use pb get documents. Okay, and if I haven't been in VueQuery documentation, but let's hop into it. VueQuery. And where's the documentation? VueQuery. And where's the menu? So basically what we want to do this time around is we just want to do a query. And this is pretty straightforward. So here it talks about the all the reactive values that you're getting back, the loading, the status, the error, all that stuff is coming back. And here's an example of how to do one. So what we're going to do is we're just going to create this hook right now on the fly. This use pb get documents. So let's go back here and go into our composables. Use pb get doc. Events.ts. And we'll go in here and we will use two queries. So we're going to follow. So export const use pb get documents. And this one's going to be a query. The other ones were mutations. And so all we do here, so we do a return use query, and then we give it a query key, and our query key is going to be documents. And then we give it the function to execute, get documents. And I need to create that function. And so what we'll do here is const get documents, MENTS. And this will be async. And what we'll do, let's go back to our documentation. So here's our documents. Let's cancel this. We should have 2 documents in here now. So let's open this up a little bit bigger. And if we refresh, we can see we have the 2 documents that we uploaded. And I can go to API preview, and we want to list the documents. So this is what we want to do. We're just going to take this, fetch a paginated list of documents. So we'll just take all records at once and sort by created. So get documents, that's what it's going to do. We'll drop that in here. And we're going to return this. And we need our use Nuxt app. Let's get some more room here. Use Nuxt app, $PB. That will query all the documents in that collection. That will be the result for this function. So it's going to call this, and then we'll get our use query back inside of our home page. So let's go back to our home page. And then let's pop back over to our use query documentation. And this is basically what we're doing. So we're going to get all these values back. So let's take all this stuff here. So this should query and get us all our documents, and all our documents should be inside of data. And this will happen automatically. It'll also happen when, by default, it will happen when the page goes out of focus and back into focus. It'll happen when the data is stale. I mean, there's a lot of value that you get out of using a VueQuery. Maybe in the next video, I'll spend a lot more time digging deeper into it. But right now, since we're over the hour mark, I'm going to try and just get the data on the page, and we can kind of explain the magic later. But if you see here, actually, let's just copy all this into the template for now. We'll make it pretty later, so you can see what's happening. So we're going to go back to the home page, and in the template, we display the user. We don't want to display, we're not going to display the whole user here anymore. We're just going to display the title at the top. And then what we'll do here is we'll display the results from the query. Query. And we'll take this code that we just copied from the VueQuery documentation. And then what you'll see is that as it's loading, the is loading, this will show if we get an error message will show, and then otherwise it'll dump our data here. Our data is documents. We'll just say document. Documents and data. Oh, sorry, it's a document in data. We'll copy our document and we'll use our ID. I think it's document. I think it's document. It's a document name, not a title. So let's see. All right, so it's complaining about error. Error comes back. So why is that complaining about an error? Error is type of no unknown. Let's just deal with the type later. So let's just wrap it. And let's see what's going on in our page now, because it should be trying to load stuff. And let's refresh our home page. And it's dumping our data. So these are our two documents, the test document and the where document. And the other thing is, let's show how to get the image back, because that's kind of also important. Let's see, let's refresh. It's loading so fast that we're not seeing the updates or the other things. The other cool thing is, if we go into our Vue tools, with our Vue tools, we get access to what's going on with VueQuery. So let's move some of this stuff out of the way. Go to our Vue tools. Up here. You can see this is our documents query, and we can see all the results from our documents query, the two elements. It says this data is stale, so it needs to be updated. If I refresh it, just watch what happens. It's stale now because it's been loaded. Reset, invalidate. Invalidated it, and you saw it just updated the data once I invalidated it. And here I can refetch. You see it just updated that, the data was refetched. But there's other interesting things you can do with the information that you get down here with the VueQuery dev tools that are embedded. The last thing is, let's display this image so that it's clear how to do that. I want to try to find it in the documentation so that it's clear. I mean, I've done it already, but being able to present in the file upload and handling. Upload, handling, deleting files, the file URL. Here's the code to actually get the URL back from the image. So let's just copy this. Actually, we don't need to copy it. We know what it is. So if we come down here and let's format this. So right now it's just dumping a document name. Let's change this to a div. Div. Clean that up, and then we're going to put another div down here with the image in it. And in here, we're going to do this a little bit differently. I know there's a more efficient way to do this. I will clean it up and make it more efficient later. But we need to basically call this file to get the URL to render it. So actually, let me show you what else is going on here. So what PocketBase will do for you, if you defined the thumbnail in the document when you were creating it, you can pull that thumbnail back as opposed to the full-size file. I did not set a thumbnail, so there's no thumbnail to pull back. Also, the code, if there is no thumbnail that matches your request, it just returns the entire document. So we're just going to take this code and we're just going to create a function now. Is there can you pass? Let's see. you pass params to view computed. Looks like yes you can. So passing items as parameters to computed. How do you, let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I didn't think computed get parameters. You can pass parameters to computed property with anonymous function. So return function. I see. So that's what we want to do because I believe computed functions are cached. So const get image URL to computed. But they say you can do it with an anonymous function. So actually I want to know Vue3. Vue3 computed with anonymous. ANONY. Yeah, this is it. You may notice you can see the same result by invoking the method. Well, basic example. Where are they talking? Yeah, is the basically what they're saying is that you get some, instead of computed property can define as same as a method. For the end result, two approaches are the same. However, the difference is computed properties are cached based on their reactive dependencies. So the reason why I want to use a computed here is that in my list, if I don't use a computed, every time it's rendered, it's going to make the API call to get the URL, and we don't want to do that. We just want to get it the one time. It's not going to change, and so it's just fine to cache it. It looks like I'm using this use Nuxt app thing a lot. Maybe on the refactor we'll pull this out of all these functions, and we'll just get it one time and use it also. So now we get the URL. We can derive, so we will pass in, not there. So how did they do it in the example, or did I just lose it? I lost it, but I believed what they did was you pass in item. Is that how they did this? Let's see. And then for the name, we will pass in item dot, what did we call it? Inside here, basics, we know where's our code. Did I lose? Oh, I lost my PocketBase admin API. So let me go find that. Okay, I will find it the hard way. So let's go back down here. Okay, so what did I call my image? My image is called documents. Please. Oh. It is called image. So I believe to get that URL, it is item.image. So let's look how they were pulling that file name. They were pulling the file name, deleting files, viewing files, records.documents, that's the name of the file, and then they got the first one. Since we only have one, I don't need to do this array thing. And then I don't have a thumb, so let's just remove this. And then let's just confirm again how to do these computed properties with methods. All right, methods, writing computable. And that's not what I want. This is the one. So down here, you can pass an argument to property not decorated, it's just by maintainers. It's only complicates code without any benefits. So everyone's back and forth about saying you don't technically can use computed property with the parameter like this, but method of if you need parameters, there are usually no benefits of using computed property function over this case. It allows you to have a parameterized getter function, blah blah blah. All right, this is going way deeper and crazier than I wanted, so I'm just going to ignore the whole computed thing, and we're just going to use a regular function to kind of try to wrap this thing up before midnight. So we will just take our item. Our item type is record. From PocketBase. Yeah, we definitely want to move this stuff out of here because we don't want to be importing PocketBase stuff inside of our code here. All right, so then this will get the image URL based on the record that's passed in. So now let's go up here, and in this div, we will place an Ion image, and its source will be get image URL, and it will be passed in the item or the document. And then let's close this, and get image URL. Am I not returning a value? Let's return this. And now we've returned it. Let's format it and let's see what we're getting. And let's reload. And we're getting our images back, but they are extremely large. So there's our images. And let's, I don't want to get crazy with styling here, but I know at a minimum I don't want these images this big. So let's see if I can just restrict them. So I say style. And we can kind of shrink them down a little bit. So, and it looks like it's automatic. Why is it so we have our document information and the associated image that goes with them. And I think that this is kind of where we are going to, actually, let's do one more to see it work. So add final test for today, PocketBase looks awesome. And then I'll select an image. And Let's select this image. Create document. And then let's refresh this. I didn't add the refreshing part in yet, but we'll do that in the next one because it's getting late. So now we have our images. So we'll focus on refreshing content, moving our, we already moved our get documents into a hook, kind of cleaning it up, finding out what was going on with that Ionic error. But that's it for the journey today. Hopefully you will join me in the next one. Thanks.